everyone, I'm Jana, dark fantasy artist and illustrator, and I've been meaning to get back to daily sketchbooking this year. It's a practice that has given me so much in the past when it comes to creative fulfillment and artistic development and straight up fun, but I tend to neglect it when things get busy. Back when I finished my Diary of a Light Sleeper, this daily sketchbook, I wrote 2 talks about daily sketchbooking, one on the whys and hows of keeping up the habit and another on coming up with ideas every day. This video is going to cover the first one. I'm going to do one on the other one some other time. And for me, reading through this old script was like getting clear instructions by my past self on my current predicaments. Like, wow, it's like this person really knows me and my problems so well. It also reminded me of just how much I enjoyed working on my tiny sketchbook. My hope is that with this video you'll find some of that same motivation and joy. May we all succeed. Okay, get a mug of tea or any beverage of your choice and let's get into it then. The year I started my first successful daily sketchbook, I ended up chatting to a fellow illustrator. We met at a cafe and she was sketching her D&D character, and I mentioned how I should really be sketching more, not just for studies, not for work, but for myself. And she said, yeah, maybe you should sketch the characters from that novel you're writing. And I said, nah, because let's face it, I write them so I don't have to draw them. And she asked, what do you want to sketch then? And I said, nothing. I have a very cheerful, inspiring personality. I want you to consider the most important part of my original statement. I should be sketching more. Should! I find shoulds are really shitty motivation. They so rarely actually happen. I should work out more. I should find out what retirement accounts are for. Shoulds are the matters in life where you vaguely understand it would be good for you if you bothered, but you don't. So really they just make you feel inadequate. The underlying issue with me wanting to sketch more was that I had fallen out of love with my work. That wasn't a recent thing. It's been a struggle of mine for years, and nothing makes you feel less like a real artist than not being particularly passionate about doing art. And that's an even stupider thing to feel imposter syndrome over than the relentless I'm not good enough. Not that this is a competition, it's not. It would be the saddest competition. So why did I think I should be sketching more? Because real artists sketch a lot. Artists who seem so much more motivated and energetic than me sketch a lot. They even do stuff like cool down sketches. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. And also, it would be really good micro content for the social media machine, right? Really, I should be sketching in a cafe every morning on my own and leave a cute doodle on a napkin for the wait staff. That's what artists do, right? I'll even wear a little beret. And then when I feel like a real artist, I'll be happy. A part of me just thought that if only I would sketch more, that would fix things somehow. And it's not surprising at all I didn't get into a sketching habit, no matter how often I wrote it down as a goal for the year. All my reasons were external. They had to do more with how I was perceived by other people and how I perceived myself. But none of them were actually about sketching. I didn't actually want to sketch, and that's why it never happened. And that's why shoulds make for bad motivation. They're not truly intrinsic wants, and there's not the pressure of actual needs. If sketching for myself was a practice I thought I would benefit from, it had to be either a thing I wanted to do or I needed to do. Now, since I wouldn't die or go to prison for not sketching enough, it was very unlikely for it to ever become a real need. So what are the internal reasons for me to start a daily sketching habit? What can make me want it so badly I'll actually put aside the time and happily sit down at my desk every day, not just for 2 or 3 days before giving up. I recall times when drawing for myself brought me actual joy, and I trust that can happen again. If I create something for myself that doesn't take 8 to 30 hours, if I draw something without the pressure for it to be good, if I recover the joy of creating something for the sake of creation alone, and if I get lost in the simple act of drawing and experience flow. That sounds better already. Now, if you wanted to start a sketching habit, your list might sound very different because you're not me. Your situation is different from mine. Your solution is different from mine. This leads me to my second step of preparation. I looked at all my previous excuses for giving up on or not even starting daily sketching habits in the past. I don't have the time. The big one. Oh really? No time? Okay. I know sketching requires creative energy and I only have a limited amount of that. I only have about 4 to 5 hours a day that I can spend on truly creative work. And I need that energy for, work that pays the bills. I can't spend it on anything as frivolous as sketching for my own pleasure. So what I'm really saying is I don't consider establishing a sketching habit as important enough to warrant the time it would need to establish. It is not a job and it is not promotional material for my portfolio. If the sketches aren't any good, they're not even promotional material for social media. There is no immediate benefit for my business, so I don't feel like I can give it any of my valuable productivity time. I don't feel like I'm allowed to give myself time to spend on anything that is not useful in a business or monetary sense. Once I'm conscious of this pattern of thinking, it is much easier to simply decide that yes, actually sketching would have value to me personally for my long-term well-being and creativity, and therefore I have to take the time out of my schedule for it. By the way, I didn't just have this problem in regards to sketching, but also when it came to going for daily walks, something that is both good for me and I enjoy, and I should be doing right now, honestly. It takes an effort to recognize that the physical and mental benefits I gain from activities are more valuable to me in the long run than spending that time on the work that pays me. Long-term versus short-term thinking and so on. How can I make sure that I actually implement a not important enough habit? Well, by making sure I do it first. Not the first thing after I finish my work, not the first thing after breakfast, but first thing after waking. Okay, I make tea first thing after tea. If I try to add a creative habit after putting in 6 hours of creative work, my energy is already depleted. If it's late afternoon and I have to decide between sketching and putting on Netflix, you bet Netflix is going to win. If I wait until after breakfast, it's still early, but I feel like it's the beginning of my workday. And it will be tempting to skip the sketching for the important, pays the bills work. The time between waking and breakfast, on the other hand, is a blank slate that doesn't come with the same old habits and associations attached, so it's easier to start a new habit during that time. Of course, this might not be true for you. You might have other events during your day which signal the beginning of this or that, and you can find other untapped pockets of time in your day. The important bit is to find the time where it is easiest for you to do the thing you want to do. People talk a lot about self-discipline, but if you plan really well, you don't need all that much of it. Now, I had already tried and failed at establishing a daily sketchbook about a year earlier. Back in early 2019, I thought it would be a good idea to sketch for 20 minutes each day right after waking up. instant drawing machine, no tea, no settling in at my desk or anything. And I failed miserably after only a few days. My motivation wasn't clear. I was way too groggy and all the sketches looked horrible. I didn't see the point of why I was even trying. So I stopped. I started my successful attempt in the same sketchbook. Since most of the pages were still blank, I just crossed out the 2019 on the cover and scrolled 2020 over it. And when I started this time around, I had a few rules. I wasn't going to share my sketches on social media, and I wasn't going to use them for anything. This way I had the freedom to draw whatever I wanted in the moment without any real or perceived outside pressure, and could mess up. Even mess up badly if I had to, without having to worry about looking incompetent. I had just 30 minutes to draw. You get quite far in 30 minutes, but it looks unthreatening on your schedule. No music, no audiobook or podcast. Full focus. I usually listen to something while I work for work because I don't need to have my brain at, full focus on the art, and I definitely don't need my brain wandering off into bad thinking patterns and on, so I have something on. But for this sketching, I wanted it to be just me and the paper. I wasn't allowed to do any preliminary sketches or look for references or work on ideas in preparation, because I wanted to keep this spontaneity and differentiate the sketching clearly from client and promotional work. I was going to sketch 1 page a day. I was going to use a ballpoint pen so I couldn't get hung up on trying to get things right, but was forced to keep drawing, mistakes and all. The plan was to fill the entire sketchbook. Keep in mind, these were my rules before I got started, and some got changed and some got added. For example, I realized how much joy it brought me to have a tiny finished drawing in my hands each morning. What a way to start the day. So the 30 minutes rule turned into draw for at least 30 minutes, but you get to draw until you finished your drawing. And most drawings ended up taking 40 to 60 minutes. I only broke this rule once because the sketch got so detailed and out of hand. I decided to finish it in 2 days because it was simply taking too long. I also broke my social media rule, but only after I had already been drawing for a week and enjoyed it immensely. It was quite literally what I got up for every day. And I didn't think I was going to stop, no matter how the response online was. Now, how about it? What did I get out of it? Did it make me fall back in love with drawing? Have I established a long-lasting sketching habit? Am I filling sketchbook after sketchbook? Yes and no. I am currently not sketching for myself unless it's studies, which I do spend 30 minutes on every day. Those have always been my most successful sketching habits to establish because it comes much more natural to me than sketching from the imagination. Even my tiny sketchbook proves I don't just sketch. I make tiny illustrations. I make finished pictures or studies, but rarely doodle. Not my thing. So, Yama, you just did 70 or so daily sketches, filled the book, and then went, that was nice. And then stopped? No, not quite. I did enjoy my daily sketches very much, but mostly this was due to creating something only for myself. When most of the day was spent on working on something for somebody else, or at the very least, an audience. I noticed that having only this 30 to 60 minutes of making a picture for myself was enough to make me feel content spending 6 more hours on somebody else's vision. That hour became incredibly precious, but it was enough. And I did like the drawing very much, but it was really less about the drawing and more about the making something low to no pressure for myself. So instead of starting a second daily sketchbook or continuing a sketch habit in one of my work sketchbooks, I decided to devote 90 minutes each morning to working on whatever personal project was most important to me. and then 30 to 40 minutes on drawing and creativity practice. That's 2 hours of prime energy spent on stuff that is probably not going to reach the outside world or make money, but makes me feel much more at peace with sacrificing the rest of my day to other people and money making. Therefore, in a roundabout way, I fixed my problem after all. Only my problem wasn't really what I thought it was, because it wasn't that I didn't care for art, but that however much I like drawing and freelancing and working for my clients, I just felt creatively stifled. One more thing though, I did start a second daily sketchbook because it was so much fun and such a success and people liked it, and doing another would be such a good and sensible idea, right? And I had some time in the afternoon after dinner that was still free, so perhaps I could add an hour of drawing then. Maybe I could do daily live streams to accompany them. Yes, well, I got 5 days or so in. Can you find the fault in my reasoning there? People liked it. If my motivation hinges even in part on whether or not people like what I'm doing, am I going to pull through even if they don't? What if a picture gets no or mixed feedback? Am I still going to feel free to draw what I feel like drawing, no matter what? Or will I only try to recapture the magic of the first sketchbook to desperately please my audience? In my defense, from a business perspective, the idea was solid, I think, but my reasons were not the same anymore. I shared my first daily sketchbook because I was so enamored with it. But I started the second sketchbook already with an audience in mind, so it wasn't for me anymore. And if it's not for me, it's not quite as fun, sorry. And if it's not fun, it's not really worth the time unless I'm getting paid. I'm selfish like that. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it, like even the tiniest bit. Yeah, so what about it you know, are you thinking about developing a sketchbooking habit as well, or have you tried in the past, and what are your experiences with it? Like, what have you learned? Because it's something I struggle with myself, so I'm really interested in what you have to say about that. If you want to take a look at the full sketchbook that has inspired this video, I posted a clip through, so you can check that out if you like. Okay, oh that's it. Bye!